right, here we go. Welcome back to the Game Smash Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Room Liberty, and with me is... And today we've got some stuff. We got Respawn getting bought out by Electronic Arts.
So ironically enough, Respawn will not be Respawn.
Oh, well done, well done. And while that is happening, EA's on a roll because, dear Lord, we're going to be talking about the freaking clusterfuck that is Battlefront 2. We're going to talk about Final Injustice characters revealed, and it's a doozy. We got Noctis coming to Tekken 7. We got more BBXT characters announced, and then we got Gohan, Boo, Gotenks revealed. Before we get into that, let's talk about what we played this week. So I played, I continued through, Link to the Past. I'm pretty much near the end. I'm pretty close, at the final boss. Yeah, that game gets really hard near the end. But it's funny because there's some philosophies where I'm like, I'm glad that this is not a thing, for example, because I'm in the final dungeon, right? And there's a part where I fall down and I beat a boss. And there's two doors. There's a door to the left and then there's a door north, right? So I take the door to the left and then I'm like, oh, the door just closed on behind me. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to keep going. And then it links back to a room. And I'm like, well, what the hell? And I'm like, I'm confused because I don't know where I need to go. And then I realize that I actually need to go north to pick up the boss key so that I could unlock the big chest so that I could get the item. But the problem is that when I went left, it closed the door behind me. So that meant that I had to go all the way around and drop down into this boss room and go north. And it just was like, it felt like such an unnecessary waste of time. That could have just, literally, if the game just didn't shut the door on me, I could have easily fixed my mistake and just went to the right and then just, got the chest. The best part is that because I took the long way, the boss respawned.
Oh, wow.
So that was like, god damn it. The boss wasn't really that hard, so it wasn't that difficult, but it was still like, but yeah, still having a lot of fun with that. I'm pretty close to the end, so I'm excited to finish it. So I had this weird moment where I was looking for something to play, and my buddy, who's been on the podcast before, Alex, he was like, hey, you should get back into League. They've changed a lot of things. And I'm like, you know what? Why not? I'll jump into a game of League for funsies. Now, it's funny because I was like, why did I stop playing League, right? And it's funny, you're thinking, I know exactly the reason you're thinking of, and it's not even that. So I boot up the game and it's like install. I have to reinstall it, right? So I reinstall it. I update the update the patch, and while the patch is loading, I'm looking at the menu screen. I'm looking at the new rune system. So the thing that always bothered me about League is the whole masteries and rune systems just seem so complicated for no reason. Like, it feels very unnecessary, and I was just like, why? Why? Because, like, literally, I didn't make my own builds. I essentially looked online and looked at what was the current list because I wasn't going to figure out all the numbers and differences between them. And what they've done is that they've simplified it drastically so that it's easy to understand and it's a lot more user-friendly. So I actually genuinely really like that change, right?
Okay.
And then I remembered the reason why I stopped playing League. It's because of the friggin' login browser, right? It's the browser itself. So the thing I hate about it is that I literally get 95% of the patch downloaded and then it says error. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I log out of League and then I log in to start the patch again. And this time, it's showing the estimated time. Instead of it going down, it's just increasing to 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 10 hours, 16 hours, 17 hours, 18 hours, 21 hours. And I'm like, okay, so that's clearly not what's supposed to happen. So I log out and I log back in. Same error, same mistake. I'm like, okay, how do I fix this? And then I'm looking online. It's like, oh, just do a an update on the browser. And I'm like, okay. So I literally hit the update button and it says this is gonna take some time. And I'm like, okay, how much time? And I see the little loading bar go pip, about 0.5%, pip, 0.6%, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm not playing League tonight. So I still hate that thing, and I feel like half of League is fighting that stupid login screen a lot of the time. But when I did actually get into a freaking game, lo and behold, I did have a little bit of fun, but I won those 2 games. So I have a sneaking suspicion that if I was playing with a really asinine team, I would probably not have had a good time. So, I mean, it was still kind of fun. I just played Sona, who's my go-to. And I mostly just play quick play. So like that's I don't play ranked. My buddy plays ranked. I'm like, no, I don't care about it that seriously enough to want to play ranked. But overall, it was kind of fun. To kind of just I started reminiscing a bit. I guess I felt a bit nostalgic because I hadn't touched the game in like I think like a year and a half. Now that I think about it, so it's been a while. But that's basically what I played this week. What about you, Fawaz?
Okay, so I'll tell you what I tried to play, and I'll tell you what I actually played.
Oh.
So I tried to play more Hearthstone this week, but for some reason, the game just won't launch.
Yeah. That's great. We're both having amazing problems with just booting up these free-to-play games.
Yeah, that was hilarious. You know, I boot up whatever the Blaze, whatever the thing is. What is it?
Battle.net?
Yeah. Battle.net, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Boot up Battle.net, hit launch on Hearthstone. The Hearthstone window pops up, stays white, not responding, and yeah. Yeah, so when I first re-downloaded Hearthstone, I used to get this problem a lot.
Right.
Then I deleted a bunch of stuff off my computer. Well, no, I deleted some stuff off my computer.
Right.
And I didn't get the problem at all, so I was like, okay, maybe that fixed it. And then I started getting the problem again. So I don't know. Which sucks because I downloaded like a deck tracker. It's actually really useful, and I was gonna like keep because it tracks like your entire deck. It tracks your opponent's deck and it tracks your win rate with that deck, and it also like breaks it down on a class by class basis, so you can see your win rate against different classes and stuff.
Right.
So it's really useful for like improving, and and how we all have that negative bias, right? So it's very useful when it comes to kicking that negative bias or proving the bias, right? If you're like, I'm struggling with this deck, and then you check and you actually have like a 60-something% win rate, then it's like, okay, I'm actually just remembering the losses, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that didn't happen. So I bought PlayStation Plus, and I was like, okay, well, Moira came out yesterday.
Hey.
As did the Anna and Mercy patch. So I was like, okay, cool. We'll just boot that game up and give it a try. So I played a little bit of Moira. It took me a couple of games because Moira, new hero roulette. You know how it always goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's fun. They did this stupid thing with her. The same thing they did with Doomfist, right? Where left trigger, so she heals with her left hand and she does damage with her right hand.
Right.
But her damage beam is on the left trigger and her healing beam is on the right trigger.
Oh, okay.
As is the case with her orbs too, her healing orb and her damage orb. So I'd be like fighting somebody and then I try to throw an orb to like damage them, and I'm like, why am I healing? Oh yeah, that's why. So that's really irritating. They did the same thing with Doomfist, and it's so annoying. It's so unintuitive to the point where I was like, maybe I should just change the controls. But
yeah, I was gonna say that I don't know if there an option to do that on the PS4 version. There is an option. So I mean, like you could technically customize it to fix this problem.
Oh yeah, that's what I do with Lucio, right? Because Lucio's jump, because the regular jump button is X, right?
Right.
But Lucio, because when you want to wall ride with Lucio, you have to hold the button down. But then holding down X and then looking with the right trigger is impossible.
Yeah.
So I just moved Lucio's jump to the right bumper or right trigger, and then I put like his ultimate fire on X. So yeah, you can do that, and I might just do that because yeah, it's really really irritating.
Yeah.
And every time I try, like I mean, but other than that, she's pretty fun to play. In my
Right.
first game, anyway, she felt very intuitive. Her abilities kind of just like linked into each other and stuff. So yeah, my first attempt with her was pretty fun. Then I
Nice.
busted out the old Anna for the first time in a very long time. I mean, like obviously the change is not noticeable, right? Because it's 10 damage. You don't like if you tell me that you notice 10 damage, I'm gonna tell you that you're full of
Yeah,
shit.
you're full of
So
shit. Yeah.
yeah, it's not noticeable. Obviously, it's noticeable when you three-shot Ephara versus four-shotting her
Yeah.
before. But yeah, yeah. I was just messing around with Anna. She's really fun, you know. Like I stopped playing her because I was terrible with her, but then I was terrible with her because I stopped playing her. So
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'll start playing her again. We'll see. And then I actually played Mercy.
Oh, you
for
actually
one
did?
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, for one game, just to see the new res. And it was actually hilarious. I was like, my teammates must be like, wow, this Mercy is terrible, which I am, by the way.
Right.
Because I forget what I don't know what her abilities are, right? So I'm like, okay, which button is for float? Oh, and so I jump and I just like fall off a cliff, and it's like, okay, so that's not the button. Let's try this again. And then there was one time when I was trying to like see how the new res felt. So I literally like fly in to like the middle of four enemies, and then I stand there for a second because I don't know what button res is. And then I'm like hitting different buttons. Then I finally find the button. By the time I do, I'm dead. And I'm like, well, at least now we know.
At least, oh yeah. So you're what you're saying is you're a pro Mercy.
I'm a pro Mercy. Yeah, watch out, World Cup.
Don't worry, I'm gonna fly in amongst 4 at the enemy team. I got this.
I mean, it was like quick play, right?
I know. I'm just being an ass.
yeah, but yeah, I played a little bit of that. Then I dusted off the old Zarya, and it's really funny because I went from playing Winston to playing Anna. You really notice the height difference in the characters, because like just your perspective with Winston, even Winston who's hunched over, right? Your perspective with Winston is so much higher that because Anna's hunched over as well, right?
Right.
She's just diminutive little old lady, right? So your perspective with Winston is so much higher than where hers is. It's just kind of funny sometimes, but yeah, let me not dwell on this for too long because we've got a lot
to talk about.
Interesting stuff to talk about. We'll kick it off with some bad news. So Respawn sold their souls to the devil. So prior to this, Respawn had been working with EA, but they were independent. EA was just publishing their games, but now EA actually owns them, which is something you never want to say about any company that you care about. But yeah, the deal was like it was like for a reported $450,000. But if you actually break it down, I'm not gonna get into the nitty gritty. But 450,000, come on, boss, $450 million.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you break it down, and like I said, I'm not gonna get into like the nitty gritty of it.
Right.
It was split, right? So 150 was up front, and then like 160 was gonna be long term over like 4 years, and then 140 was also like bonuses. So if they hit certain goals, which pretty much means that Respawn are going to have to sell a bunch of stuff.
They're gonna have
they're going to have to sell well for them to get the full 450 that EA bought them for. This is a really good deal for EA. Let's just take a second.
Oh, it's a really good deal for EA.
Yeah, because it's low risk, high reward. Because like it's 150 upfront. 150 million is nothing to EA, right? So if Respawn come out to release a couple of games and all their games tank, then EA can just cut their losses, shut Respawn down like they've done with so many other companies. And okay, sure, we lost the 150 million or however much they would actually report as a loss, but that's that, right? But then on the flip side, if Respawn actually hit their goals, then sure, EA has to cough up a little extra money, but like the amount of money that they will make probably more than the amount that they'll have to cough up. This is a really good deal for EA. Yeah. Now, one thing mentioned in the press release is that they started work on the next Titanfall. So the friends are getting the Titanfall 3, but judging from what we've seen recently, the Titanfall 3 is probably going to be riddled with microtransactions, which brings us to our next point.
Before we get into that, and I trust me, I want to get into it. I'm just saying that it's funny how Respawn, the first thing that they say is that, don't worry guys, we're okay. We are.
They always say that.
They always say that, and
BioWare said that.
Yeah, BioWare said that, and Visceral probably said that at some point. And my favorite tweet was from Jim Sterling, which was like, known studio killer EA buys Respawn. It's like, literally, I'm like, as much as I'm excited, hey, Titanfall 3, they're going to make Titanfall 3 and then they're going to be dead. They're going to literally be dead. They're going to be gone because, like, that's just what happens when you get bought by EA.
Yeah, and I'm not going to buy Titanfall 3. Just,
unless Titanfall 3, like, lights the world on fire. But, like, I want to support because I think Respawn is a good company. Like, and the problem is that them being bought by EA, I see a massive bullshit coming down the line for Titan. So all that free DLC and, like, good community, like, feedback and tweaking to the game overall that Titanfall 2 has enjoyed for, like, the last year, that's all probably going to be gone by the time Titanfall 3 comes out, which is a shame because I really like Titanfall 2. But it's like EA is just so known for fucking everyone over, because think about Titanfall 2's situation. It's a great game. You and I both bought it, and you and I both really enjoyed it. It had a great single-player content along with the multiplayer content. And it got released in freaking between Call of Duty, Battlefield, and there was another shooter that came out.
It was just Call of Duty and Battlefield.
Call of Duty and Battlefield, but it was like in between those two games.
Literally in between.
It literally had no chance.
Came out a week before, and Battlefield came out a week after, or like the other way. No. This EA sent that game out to die. I think EA came out and said it. It's like, oh wait, maybe we shouldn't have done that. I'm like, you think? You think?
So, do you want to take it away with the things that EA should have really thought about?
Yeah, exactly. Because here's the thing. Now, the reason why I said I'm not going to buy Titanfall 3 is because I'm done supporting. Now, here's the thing. I never supported EA. It's I can count the number of EA games I've bought in the past decade. Titanfall 2 being one of them. Mm-hmm. And like I said, Titanfall 2 was for technically an independent developer who was partnering with EA. Now, the reason why I'm not going to buy any EA game ever again is because EA has always been a company of assholes, right?
Mm-hmm. This is true.
But recently, it was revealed that with the Star Wars Battlefront 2 that was coming out, somebody did an estimate that it would take about 40 hours to unlock one hero in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Mm-hmm. There are 6 locked heroes. Now, to be fair, 2 of the, I think Luke and Vader cost the most. The other ones would only take about 30 hours to unlock. So, that's fair.
Yeah.
But of course, like if you want to speed the process over, you can shell out some sweet dough and unlock the heroes quickly. So from day one, from the closed beta open beta, people have been worried that this game was going to be pay to win. But this is a situation like Overwatch, right? Mm-hmm. Where this asshole spent $50 and bought a bunch of loot boxes, and now he has that awesome Zarya skin. Yeah. I'm stuck with this shitty Zarya skin. Yeah. Oh wait, I'm actually better than this guy, so it doesn't actually matter.
And it's cosmetics. That's the difference. Here, it's gameplay that is being like literally the right to play Darth Vader is locked behind $10 worth of crystals.
Yeah, Darth Vader's locked. All these characters are locked, but that's not the worst part. I mean, well, that is a pretty bad part. But the other thing is that the game as a whole is designed around this ecosystem, right?
Yes.
Where because when you level up, you don't get anything, right? You get that's not entirely true. I'm not 100% sure what you get when you level up, but like it's not like a basic game. I think you get credits. Yeah. I think when you level up, you get credits.
Yeah.
As opposed to like Call of Duty. Well, the last Call of Duty I played, which is Modern Warfare 2, where when you level up, you unlock weapons and you unlock all this stuff. In this game, you unlock credits that you can then buy loot boxes with. When you then open it up and it's RNG, and then you might get what you want, right?
Yeah,
so it promotes gambling to an extent, but that's besides the point, right?
Right.
So the upgrades that you unlock actually, it's like Call of Duty. You unlock scopes. If I have a scope on my rifle and you don't, I mean, it's not like a massive advantage, but it is an advantage. If I have a
Yes.
grenade launcher on my assault rifle and you don't have the noob tube, well, you're probably going to get bodied, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty much the same thing. You unlock upgrades for your classes, you unlock new heroes, you unlock all that stuff, and all of this is tied behind an ecosystem that
Mm-hmm.
encourages players to spend money.
Yeah.
So it's really, really, really bad. Now,
It's really
EA
bad.
responded
Wait,
with
wait, wait.
some
Oh,
post.
no,
Oh
no,
yeah.
no. We're not done yet. I got some more shit to talk
Okay,
about.
okay,
This
okay,
is
okay.
this rabbit hole goes deep. All
This
right.
is yeah.
So first off, I want to talk about the big thing what you were talking about, this ecosystem. So what one of the people have determined that Battlefront in in the state that during this kerfuffle, that Battlefront 2 gives out credits based on time spent playing and not on skill. So here's a prime example. When you're playing Overwatch, when you win a game and you do well and you get gold medals and you get team, like, depending on how long the game lasts, it adjusts how much experience you get towards your next loot box, right?
Yeah.
So if you do really well, you're on the winning team, you get a bunch of gold medals for playing really well with your character, you could get a lot of experience from one game. This doesn't happen in Battlefront 2. You get the same amount of resources that you need to unlock these loot boxes for every single game, regardless if you win or lose, which means you essentially have to grind. There's no, I'm on like a team, I'm on like a really good team, and we're just on like a win streak, and I got a bunch of loot boxes. No, 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 no. This is literally, you have to grind it out. Now, I have another question before we move on. Are we going to talk about this? Are we going to talk about the most downvoted comment in Reddit history?
Well, of course, I was just about to get to
You're going to get to that? I have it verbatim if you want me to read it.
Okay, read it out.
Okay, so this during this kerfuffle, somebody posted on the Star Wars Battlefront Reddit that's like, seriously, I paid $80 for Vader to be locked, which is a very, reasonable criticism considering.
It's Canadian too, by the way.
Yeah, it's a Canadian, and this is a valid criticism considering that Vader wasn't locked in the first game.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. It was a better time. That was back when we were complaining about season passes, and we didn't think this shit was gonna get any worse. And boy, were we wrong.
Boy, EA were like, hold my beer.
Hold my beer. All right, so this led to what a post from EA to respond to this comment, this criticism, and this led to 600,000 downvotes. And this is what the EA wrote. Let me get my EA conference man voice going. Here we go. The intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. As for the cost, we selected initial values based upon data from the open beta and other adjustments made to milestone rewards before launch. Among other things, we're looking at average per player credit earn rates on a daily basis, and we'll be making constant adjustments to ensure that players have challenges that are compelling, rewarding, and attainable via gameplay. We appreciate the candid feedback and the passion the community has put forth around current topics here on Reddit, our forums, and across numerous social outlets. Our team will continue to make changes and monitor community feedback and update everyone as soon as and as often as we can. Holy fucking shit. Are you serious?
You sound like a flight attendant too.
I do. And that's what this sounds like. This sounds like the fly attendant. This sounds like the attendant while the plane is crashing that's trying to tell everything is fine.
Yeah, so obviously people weren't pleased with this. It became the most downvoted comment in Reddit history by a wide margin, actually. I think the last comment was some dude who asked people to downvote him to see the highest, and it was like, yeah, ended at like 50K or something like that. So this passed that by apparently 550K.
Yeah.
shout out to EA breaking records.
Yeah.
But yeah, this whole situation. Oh, it gets more interesting. So then, okay, so check this out. Then EA, because like like literally for an entire week, every morning I would wake up, check the front page of Reddit, and the top thing would be something bashing EA, right? People, this really pissed people off. Right?
Yeah.
So EA responded and they reduced the amount of time it took to unlock a hero from 40 hours to 10.
Right.
Which, is still some bullshit. But, and this is what they didn't mention, they also reduced the amount of time it took to unlock heroes by 75%, but they also reduced the amount of credits you get for completing the single player campaign by 75%.
Yeah.
That's what, yeah. So then, like this didn't quell people's anger, thankfully, because it's bullshit, right?
Right.
So like Wall Street, I actually read an article on CNBC where Wall Street was getting worried that the social media outrage might actually hurt the game's sales, because I feel like, because normally when the original comments happened and I saw the headline, I commented and I was like, oh no, at the time it was like 300,000 downvotes. I was like, oh no, 300,000 downvotes. I guess EA, I wonder how EA is going to sneak tonight or something facetious like that.
Right.
Because I was like, people do this all the time. They get mad on Reddit and then they go out and they still buy the game, right? This dude was complaining bought the game. And now, to be fair, like just for the record, okay, let's not get into that. But then finally yesterday, EA ditched the microtransactions completely. They released another statement talking about how, we didn't anticipate to get this response. You're damn fucking straight.
Yeah, no shit. And just to make this aside, this is you talk about like, well, it's like people who bought the game, right? I personally think the reason why they did this was because this is so close to launch. This is bad. Because yes, there's people that have already pre-ordered the game, obviously, right? But they're thinking about the market of people who only buy games when they are released at launch, right? So if this heavy criticism and just massive PR disaster happens before launch, that's going to make people go, you know what? No. And I had a friend who was super excited to buy Battlefront 2. He was talking about like he enjoyed the beta. There was a couple things he didn't like, but overall he was interested to see more. And after this, he said, no, I'm done. I'm not buying this game. Because that's insanity how they responded to that. And it's and it's fascinating to me because I feel like because it reached critical mass with the most downvoted comment on Reddit in Reddit history, I feel like that made EA go, okay, well, now we may have to do something. I feel like if this was like a 10,000 downvoted comment, that might have been one thing, but the fact that this went up to 600,000 people downvoted this thing as like essentially a middle finger to how EA has been handling this game as a whole is saying a lot.
I mean, like the downvotes aside, because like I honestly don't believe that the downvotes really did that much, other than give us a really funny meme. What happened is that a lot of people canceled their pre-orders, right? Why you still pre-order games in this day and age is a surprise to me. Why you still pre-order EA games in this day and age is beyond me.
Yeah.
But sure, a bunch of people canceled their pre-orders. And this has just been a PR disaster. So like, I'm really interested to see if gamers actually put their money where their mouth is, because the truth is that this won't end until we really stick it to EA, until they start to see, and until they start to, because like I said, 600,000 downvotes is fine and all, but EA doesn't actually lose any money off those 600,000 downvotes. If those 600,000 downvotes leads to people not buying Battlefront 2, then I think we'll start to see some change, because it's ridiculous. Like the level of greed in this situation is astronomical. This is Star Wars. No, this is Star Wars, right? This isn't like Titanfall 2. This is Star Wars. This game was going to sell regardless.
Yeah. Like, you know what? When you make a very good point. The level of like greed is not even necessary. You're making money because you have the name. It's Star Wars. Like,
Battlefront.
Battlefront still made a lot of money, even with its criticisms, because it's Star Wars. People like, man, I want to go play the new Star Wars game. So the fact that they had to put all this bullshit in the game, because, oh man, we gotta make as much money in every single waking minute of our waking lives. It's like, no, you don't. You really, really don't. And it kind of like connects to the whole problem where it's like, I feel like, a lot of game companies have this idea because Overwatch did it, we can do it. And it's like, no, that's not necessarily the case. And it's a bad I feel like the whole microtransactions and loot box ecosystems is real. This is the perfect storm and the perfect example of like game companies need to start thinking about this. I don't know how to put it.
And the part that they forget when they talk about Overwatch is a couple of things. One is that loot boxes are 100% cosmetic in Overwatch. You know, two, every single hero, map, mode, every single gameplay related thing that came out after Overwatch got released is to this date still free. Three, Blizzard claim, you know, now only God knows if they're going to stick to this, but based on their track record, I believe them. Blizzard claim that they're going to be supporting Overwatch for a very long time.
Yes.
You know, now considering, like I said, World of Warcraft is 14 years old. StarCraft 2, they're still releasing content for StarCraft 2. They released a patch for Warcraft 3 a little while back. I'm inclined to believe Blizzard when they say they're going to be supporting this game for a very long time. Now, that support costs money. You know, like the people who are working on all this content, you know, they're using hours that they could be spending on other things. So when they're adding these loot boxes to like create a kind of consistent income, it's not as egregious, especially since, like I said, everything in the loot boxes is cosmetic, and two, it's not even that hard to get what you want. It doesn't take 10. If I want to unlock a skin for Zarya, it doesn't take me 10 hours of gameplay to get 1,000 credits. You know, like it does not take that long. So yeah, like, okay, sure, Overwatch did it, and Overwatch has made a lot of money doing it. Let's not sugarcoat things here. Overwatch has made an insane amount of money doing it, but like they look at that and they don't look at the why. They just look at, oh, okay, so these guys did loot boxes, so let's do it too. Let's get some of that sweet loot box pie. And then they also look at Hearthstone, another Blizzard game, ignoring the fact that Hearthstone is free to play. I mean, Hearthstone is not really free to play because Hearthstone is one of the most expensive. Like, you know, sir, and I forgot to say this when I was talking about things we played. One thing that I've learned coming back to Hearthstone, because when I first played Hearthstone, it was the first free-to-play game I ever played. So going from Hearthstone to Gwent back to Hearthstone makes me realize just how expensive Hearthstone actually is.
Well, if you want to build decks, like if you are just playing it casually and you're just making bullshit decks with the cards that you just have, then you can get some mileage out of that. But if you're building like to play competitively and want to win like every single game, then you have to put some money. You got to put some real money into those games. And you know what's funny? I personally think the way Hearthstone does it is better than Overwatch. I have been screaming at Blizzard, please, for the love of God, introduce the dust system into Overwatch, because the fact that I can take stuff that I don't need or don't want and
like those 4 fucking Mercy skins I got,
or those like 3 Widowmaker skins that I'm never going to use, then it's like that would help make the whole loot box thing feel a little less grindy. Because to be fair, loot boxes as a whole are still grindy because you're still rolling the dice. And just to get back to Battlefront a little quickly, this is another thing that got posted which really blew my mind, is that review copies of Battlefront 2 were being given to reviewers with adjusted numbers for unlocking stuff. So it was 75% easier to get the crystals that you needed to unlock things in these review copies than it is in the base game. Naturally.
Here's another thing to add to this like shitstorm.
Yeah.
So apparently, you could play arcade mode, to get crystals, right?
Right.
But there's a cap on how many crystals you can get in arcade mode every day. Once you hit that cap, you have to wait 14 hours to start gaining crystals
Oh my
again.
god.
But
Why? Like literally why? When I'm playing Street Fighter 5 and I'm getting like just a tiny bit of fight money for my offline matches, I like sure, it's a little bit, but I can just do that and it's not, but I can consistently do the fact that there's a cap. Like, why would they put a cap on it? Like, wouldn't you just... There's an easy solution to this. You can reduce the numbers, like, to a reasonable amount so that you still have that whole option of buying shit, as shitty as it is, but still the people who I will not go to that store have the ability to earn stuff. They don't have to wait a day. Oh my god.
And this is why I said I'm not buying the new Titanfall. No disrespect to Respawn, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to buy the new Titanfall. I'm not buying the third-person Star Wars action game that they're working on. I'm never buying another EA game again. Now, this doesn't mean much because I don't buy EA games in general. Like, even if they didn't do all this bullshit, most of the games don't interest me. And the few that do, they've found ways to ruin them.
Yeah.
But like
the only thing just before we leave this topic, so remember how you said they ditched the microtransactions?
Yes.
That's not necessarily the truth. They are going to reintroduce them later at a different date. Now, the only thing that I can hope for, which is not going to happen because this is EA and we know how this show goes, I would hope that they could rebalance the way that the crystal system works and rebalance the numbers so that it feels attainable and not, ridiculous.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, I can play a Star Wars game and feel pride and accomplishment one day.
I swear to God, if you buy Star Wars Battlefront 2, I'm going to drive to your apartment and choke you in your sleep. Okay?
Although I will admit, I have been saying pride and accomplishment so much in the past couple weeks because everything about that is so perfect. It's so perfect.
Yeah. So no. When they announced that, we're taking the microtransactions out of it, the only thing I could think of was it's a trap.
You're just sitting in the chair, you're sweating really heavily. It's a trap. Don't do it.
In the immortal words of Admiral Akbar, it's a trap. Don't believe it. This is EA. If you buy Star Wars Battlefront, you are going to get screwed, and you have only yourself to.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. Honestly, that's about enough I have to say about that. I'm ready to talk about some more positive things.
Yes, let's talk about some positive things.
Okay, before we leave that, though, I do find it hilarious that you compared Capcom favorably to EA.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. Like, it was the first game I could think of with offline stuff that you unlock things, right? Yeah, like you fight money. Like, you unlock fight money for playing in arcade mode. You unlock fight money for... what's the other thing you do? Like, just basic matches.
Beating the story mode, yeah.
Yeah, beating the story mode,
I barely played Street Fighter 5, and I had enough fight money for 2 characters. And here's the thing, right? Is that, okay, sure. Just to touch on this, sure, unlocking all the DLC characters will probably cost you money, but let's be real here. Outside, because this is a fighting game we're talking about here, right? This isn't Overwatch where you can hop between hero to hero to hero like that, right? Fighting games take not hours. Fighting games take months for you to learn a character. So you have 16 at launch, and you can, let's say you get enough fight money. This is a game I barely played. I have enough fight money to buy 2 characters, right? If I actually played the game, I probably have enough to get like 4 or 5. That is more than enough when you're talking about a fighting game, right? But I digress. I'm not about to start praising Capcom because they're still full of shit. So moving on to Injustice.
You want to take this away because this was fascinating when I saw this.
This was pretty cool. This was so the final set of DLC characters got revealed, and so the trailer begins, and you see some random girl with a denim jacket walking down a street. Then an explosion happens, and this tiny guy jumps out, grows up, bam! It's Adam. Okay, we already knew that Adam was going to be in here. Then some pebbles hit the girl, and her eyes start to glow green. and like she brings up like an outfit, and it's like, oh, okay, cool, that's Enchantress, isn't it? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And two of them are running at each other, and then they stop. A sigh just hits the ground in front of them, and you're thinking, Melina? And then you see some dude walking in a trench coat. You're like, no. Then he takes the trench coat off, and it's Raphael from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But wait, three other characters, who you can probably guess, show up behind him, and then Raph says, he's like, oh, should I take this one? And Leo responds, no, we fight together. And then bam, crowd goes wild. Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are coming to Injustice 2, which I don't think anybody saw coming. Honestly, my only regret was I didn't watch this live, because I woke up the next morning and I went to YouTube, and the thumbnail spoils the reveal. So, I didn't get like the full experience, because the thumbnail just has the turtles there, and it's like, God damn it.
Well, I mean, like, when I saw that, I was like, wait, what? No. And I love, but like I could see that seeing this live would be the best, because as soon as I saw the trench coat, I'm like, yeah, that's fucking Raph. That's fucking, because it's Raph from the movie. From the movie, he's got the and that's a perfect way to reveal him too. Like that's awesome that they did it that way. It is kind of weird seeing the turtles, because like all the heroes in Injustice look so realistic, and like, I guess the graphics are so high. I'm not used to seeing this high fidelity turtles. I was a little like, whoa, okay. But I mean, honestly, I think it's great that they're there. That's an awesome pick, and it's an out there pick. Like I like surprises like that.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. They did a really good job. So just to recap, unless my memory fails me, the DLC characters we got, the first pack was Starfire, Sub-Zero, and
Raiden. I know Raiden was part of that, or was he part of the second pack?
Yeah, Raiden was part of the second pack. Shit, I can't remember. So I think it was Starfire. Oh yeah, Red Hood, Starfire, and Sub-Zero. The second pack was Hellboy, Raiden, and the DC character. What's his name? Black Manta.
Black Manta, yeah.
Yeah, and then the last pack are Adam,
Enchantress,
and TMNT. So yeah, funny little bit of trivia with Hellboy and the Turtles in Injustice. Now, Injustice is actually looking like a better crossover game than Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Yeah. When you say it like that, although we won't talk about it in this podcast. Maybe we'll talk about it in one of the upcoming ones. But there was one hell of a leak that fascinated me about.
Okay, Marvel. Yeah. We'll talk about that. Yeah, because it's mostly just rumors, and
well, some of them are ridiculous. Like some of them I'm like, I don't believe.
but okay. So in terms of gameplay, we don't have any gameplay of the characters yet. But based on the trailer, it is implied that the turtles fight 4 at a time. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be a Ginyu Force.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like. But shoutouts to NetherRealm Studios. Shoutouts to Warner Brothers. Shoutouts to Injustice 2. Man, they Enchantress and Adam is kind of I was really hoping for Constantine or the Question, but
just give me the Question. All right, I will buy the game. I'm no good at fighting games at all, but I will literally bust down to my EB Games and buy a copy of this game if you put the Question in it.
Wow, Tana spending money. Didn't see that coming.
Why do you always put that on me? Every time. I'm trying to make a point and you're like, oh, look at Tanner with all those money. He's just rolling in the paper bills.
He's kind of sitting on a pile of money right now. Like, I'm looking for ways to spend this money. NetherRealm Studios, give me a reason. I'm sorry. But then like another developer had a pretty cool character reveal for their game. So the Tekken 7 World Finals happened,
right.
And at the event they announced a new character. Now, do you want to walk them through the trailer?
That was pretty cool because it's just a shot of like this sort of like gas bar or like this little truck stop, and there's a phone, and it's like, that's interesting. There's a phone, and then a guy picks up the phone, and it slowly goes up his pants, up to his shirt. And then it's great because you see the audience go, oh, it's him, it's our boy, and it's our boy Noctis from Final Fantasy VII with the phone with everyone else. And I love all the fact that they were fighting over who got to go.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So yeah, Noctis is coming to Tekken 7. So Noctis and Geese coming to Tekken 7, which pretty much makes Tekken 7 a better crossover game than Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't really know much about Tekken, so I can't really talk about his playstyle. But he looks cool,
Mm-hmm.
and they also introduced a new stage. I think it's going to be like the gas station from
Final Fantasy
15. I said Final Fantasy 7, didn't I?
No, so you said 15.
Okay, yeah. So Final Fantasy, it's pretty much the gas stage from Final Fantasy 15 with his boys and that chick, the chick with the short shorts and the hat, like the
that's Sydney. I think it's Sydney.
Okay, but yeah, they looked pretty cool, and that was an awesome announcement. Mm-hmm. And then, because this is the character announcement edition of the Game Smash podcast, and literally every developer is like, I'm not about to get shown up. So Arc Systems came out and they announced a bunch of new characters for Blaze Blue Cross Tag battles.
Right.
So we got Yukiko, Azrael, and what was that last dude's Gordu?
Yeah, Gordu.
Yep. Azrael, I didn't see that coming, because like so far they picked pretty much the obvious Blaze Blue characters, right? Like they've done with Persona, they picked the obvious characters.
Yeah.
But Azrael was like from left field. I didn't see that coming. He looks pretty cool. Also, they changed the UI, and I don't know if I spoke about this on the podcast, but I watched some gameplay and the damage was insane.
Yeah.
The damage was obscene. Looks like they toned that down. To the surprise of no one, I'd have been very surprised if the game launched with that level of damage. They've toned the damage down. They've improved the UI a bit. I mean, the game is coming late next year, so it's still a long way off. But yeah. Azrael, Gordu, and Yukiko.
Cool shit.
And how did you feel about these?
I thought it was cool. I mean, like when I saw Yukiko, I was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna get excited for any of the Persona characters, which sounds weird because it's like I know who it's gonna be for every single trailer. Guess who's coming next? It's gonna be Kanji. Guess who's coming after that? Teddy. Guess who's coming after that? Rise. Guess who's coming after that? Naoto. And even if we get that far, I will be pissed if Naoto doesn't make it in the game.
So let me get this straight. So first of all, you're mad that they're gonna go with all the obvious choices, but then you finish that statement off with saying, "I'm going to be pissed if one of these obvious choices doesn't make it."
Well, no. Sorry. Let me correct myself. I'm gonna be pissed because if they're doing it in this order, my worry is that they're gonna be like, "Oh, we've got enough characters," and I'm gonna be stuck with Rise, and I'm
Honestly, my biggest regret with Persona 4 was choosing Rise as my girlfriend.
Jesus.
But let's not even. Did you just say Jesus?
Yes, I said Jesus. I forgot. Every time you say that, I'm like, why? Chie, for God's sakes. Everyone picks Chie. Or Naoto. Or goddamn it, Yukiko, for fuck's sake. Why?
I was weak and she was... Okay, let me explain.
No, you know what? I will say this. She was voiced by Laura Bailey, and Laura Bailey's awesome, so I will give you that. But it's like...
Let me explain how Persona 4 went for me, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I start playing the game, and then I look at that one chick with the white hair, and I'm like, oh, wow, she's pretty cool. Maybe I'll date her. And 3 days later, she ends up dead. I'm like, okay...
Oh my god, are you serious? You actually were like, I can't wait to... Oh no.
The chick from
Junes.
And then like 3 days later, she ends up dead. And I'm like, okay, cool. Then I go to school and I'm talking to that one chick, the one that's really mean. And I'm talking to her, and then I'm going through the social link, and then I'm like, okay, I think I'm making progress here. And she's like, hey, I think my character's name was Spike Spiegel. Hey, Spike, do you want to hook me up with one of your boys? I'm like, wait, am I getting friend zoned in video games now? The hell? So wait, Rise came along and she was easy and she was obvious. I was like, yo, yo, I am not about to take all these L's. I
I just bolt for Rise. Yes, tell me all about modeling. I can't wait to hear more about it.
But yeah, that is like one of my biggest.
Okay, that's fucking hilarious. I can't believe you actually thought you were gonna romance that character from fucking Junes. That's amazing.
And then she dies. Like.
And then she died. You know what? I had a similar moment in Persona 5 though.
Spoiler.
Well, I won't go into details, but you know who I'm talking about, right?
Actually, don't. You can have to remind me.
It's one of the characters that Anne is friends with in the beginning of the game.
Yes.
Because I was like, she seems super cool. I want to go, oh god, oh no, oh jeez.
So
anyway.
We've got so far.
Every time we talk about this BlazBlue game, it just sort of kind of like slings into Persona talk.
Yeah, but I will recover from my mistake, okay? If I buy this game, Chie, you're going to be on my team.
Yeah,
okay?
Chie, she's just a cool girl who wants to be a cop. All right.
You know, it's funny. I was gonna say something about Chie, but then I realized that what I meant and how it was going to sound. It was going to come out like very, very wrong. It had to do with what Chie likes eating, and I'm just.
Yeah. You kind of had to hit the brakes on that.
Yep. So anyway. So Arc System Team Red was like, okay, we're not going to get outdone this week either. So then they review Gohan, Kid Buu, and Gotenks for Dragon Ball FighterZ. So the three of them look amazing, but at this point, like, we're just beating a dead horse talking about how the characters look, right?
Right. Yeah.
In terms of gameplay, unfortunately, we don't have any trailers, and the descriptions weren't very descriptive. Ironically,
yeah.
Like Gotenks, he has this one. He's level 3. It's like a volleyball attack. So he turns the enemy into a volleyball, and then he like serves him to his teammates.
Nice.
And whoever the teammate is changes based on who's in your team.
Right.
But that's not really a gameplay related thing. That's more like a fan,
thing.
Fan thing. The other thing, they showed like an image of his Ghost Kamikaze attack, but we still don't fully understand how it's going to work. But based on the image, it looked like a barrage type super. So he just spends bar and he sends the ghosts away. Versus I thought it was gonna be a situation where he summons the ghosts and then you hit a button to launch them and you can pick when they are launched. But we don't know. We really don't know. Same with Buu. We know very little. He has his level 3 is his planet destruction thing. He does the purple orb, but he throws it. The description has people speculating because they were oh, nobody will survive this attack. So they were oh, is this a one-shot kill? I think that was just them trying to be overly dramatic in the description of the move. I think it's just gonna be a basic as level 3. He also has stretchy arms, kind of like Piccolo. We saw an image of him stretching and grabbing Goku.
Right.
So there's that, but we don't really know much. Hopefully, we get a trailer or some better details between now and our next podcast.
Yeah. Sorry, no, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, and then the last person is Adult Gohan. We did get something interesting, gameplay related from him. So you can spend your bar to do what they refer to as unlock your potential, and then it supposedly powers up your moves. And depending on how much bar you use, that is how much you will power yourself up. Right. I don't know how this is going to work. First of all, I don't know how you even choose how much bar you want to use. Because in the screenshot, you see Gohan using it, but he has 4 bars remaining. So It's not a situation where if you use it, you just use up however much bar you have left, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, we don't know the kinds of properties that this is going to give any of his moves. But this is cool. This sounds interesting, which is weird because Adult Gohan, I came to terms with the fact that Adult Gohan was going to be added to this game a long time ago, but I haven't been excited about it. Because I'm like, okay, we have Goku. We have 2 versions of Goku. I just don't see how they're going to make Adult Gohan any different. It sounds like he's going to be very different.
Yeah.
Which is,
well, it's funny you complain about 2 versions of Goku.
What?
There's gonna be 3.
Oh no, that's just a rumor.
There's gonna be 3. That's as bad as that rumor is. like I believe it 100%.
Oh, and just for the record, because like I think it's a bit of a dick move that we're talking about this and not telling you guys. The rumor states that two of the DLC characters are going to be base Goku and base Vegeta. I don't believe it for the simple fact that even Capcom, in their infinite incompetence, knew to save their most popular characters for DLC, and you're not going to convince me that like Dragon Ball Z fans are going to look at the game. The game has Super Saiyan Goku, Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and then they're like, oh, but I want to spend an extra $8 for base Goku.
For base Goku. I gotta have his normal black hair. It's gotta be normal and spiky in that particular way, or this game's garbage. This game's bullshit, man.
Because he has Spirit Bomb now. That's why I'm going to spend $8. For me,
you realize that people would spend $8 for the Spirit Bomb? There are totally people who would spend $8
for people that would spend $8 for anything. But in terms of the majority, I honestly do not think that the vast majority of people would be excited at the idea of buying DLC.
Yeah.
8 characters, 2 of them are already in the game. Of characters that we have 2 versions of in the game already. I just don't buy it. You know, I do not believe.
I mean, I hope that it isn't the case, but then I think about, you know, as much as I hate to say I love Smash, but there are a lot of clone characters in Smash.
Yeah, but that's Nintendo.
Oh, okay. So we're saying that Capcom is going to be better than Nintendo in this case.
No, I'm saying that Namco is going to be better than Nintendo. Let's not forget that Namco are the guys who are adding Noctis and Geese to Tekken 7.
This is true. This is true. You got me there.
The people who are like, oh, let's add Noctis and Geese to Tekken 7 are going to be like, let's add base Goku and base Vegeta to Dragon Ball FighterZ when Broly is into the game yet.
Well, Broly was in that rumor too, which I'm very excited for.
Broly is going to be in this game. He's either going to be in the base roster or he's going to be in the DLC. That I'm almost 100% sure of. He's far too popular.
Yeah.
And then also to add a little bit more, so we also got a couple of things revealed in this scan. So they also revealed that it's going to be like a shop, but like you get so similar. So this is how it works in Guilty Gear. Everything that you do gains you in-game currency, and then you can buy like soundtracks. You can buy alternate colors for your characters. It's fluff stuff, you know.
Right.
You can fish with it, that's what my friend did with all of his stuff, and you get it for doing everything. You know, you get it for like the combo mode. You get it for doing the combo mode. You get it for beating arcade mode with each character. You get it for beating arcade mode with every character. You get it for finishing the story mode. You get it for everything except training mode, which makes me sad because training mode is where I spend most of my time.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game's gonna have it too. So the only thing that they said is that you can buy alternate colors for your characters. I imagine they're probably gonna add like artwork and stuff like that you can buy with the in-game currency. It's a thing that RC Some Work games have been doing for a very long time.
Right.
The other thing that they announced was that there's gonna be an arcade mode, to the surprise of no one. However, they were like that in this arcade mode. How it works is that based on how you perform in the game. I don't know if it means if you get like a perfect or if you use like X amount of this or Z amount of that. You go up the ladder you follow different paths, right? So they showed like an example of like there's a bunch of characters on a table and they showed the arrows and different ways you can go.
Ooh.
Now on that table there were 2 icons that people zeroed in on because they didn't look like any of the characters currently in the game. There were 2 purple-looking characters in the icon that people assumed are Hit and Beerus. So there's been so much debate over this on the Dragon Ball Reddit. It's actually hilarious because every day I wake up and I see a different post about this. Some dude used Photoshop to like. So the Hit one looks like Ginyu. I think the character that they think is Hit is actually going to be Ginyu. The Beerus one doesn't look like anyone in the game right now. It doesn't even look like Beerus. But like as far as Dragon Ball characters are concerned, Beerus is the closest person that it looks like.
Right.
So and it's believable. I thought Beerus was going. I still think Beerus is going to make the base version of the game. I didn't think Hit was going to make. I thought Beerus was going to be the closest we got to a super character.
Right.
In the base version of the game, and then we were going to use like most of the DLC to add super
characters.
Right.
I think we're gonna get. Is it Kefka?
Kefla.
I think we're gonna get Kefla at some point. I think we are.
Yeah. Well, what I suggested on the Dragon Ball Reddit was that we get cauliflower. We get whichever one is the small one. So cauliflower, I think. No, Kale. Kale's the small one. So it'll be Kale and Cauliflower. There'll be a puppet character. Kale is the main character. Cauliflower is the puppet character.
Right.
Similar to like Zato or like Carl. And
Right.
then if you know like your level 3 will be you spend bar and then they fuse and you get K-Fla. And I was like that. I think that would be a really cool character. So we're definitely not going to get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my suggestion for how they would add K-Fla, cauliflower and K-Fla and Kale to the game. I think that would be a really cool way to do it.
I forgot. He lives in a world of vegetables. Like that's all it is. It's all vegetables in Dragon Ball. All right, so overall, really cool stuff. I like the new characters that they've shown so far. Oh, I'm really excited for January, man. January not come any sooner.
I can't wait. The one thing is because like a lot of the people in the Dragon Ball Fighters Reddit, they're Dragon Ball people trying to get into a fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not looking. There's a lot of stuff that happens when people play their first fighting games that I'm not looking forward to happening around there. One of which ties into our question of the day, by the way. From the lovely J Streets.
Mm-hmm. Shout outs to J Streets.
And the question goes, what are your thoughts on someone playing the game using a quote-unquote cheese method or the concept of cheese in general? So, personally, I think anybody that complains about cheese is just... I think complaining about cheese is... what's the best word to... I don't agree with it. For me, because here's the thing: we're playing a competitive game. I'm trying to beat you. You know, like I'm not trying to make this fun for you. Mm-hmm. So, like, no, let's be real here, right? Let's just keep it like, okay, sure, it's a video game. We're both supposed to be having fun, and like, I'm not talking about cheating here. You know, like if there's a technique in the game that's like flat out cheating, or like you're exploiting a bug in the game, or doing like infinite block strings or something like that, then of course no. But like if I'm using a strategy that is legit, that it was built into like the best example is zoning, because that's what everybody always labels as cheats, right?
Right.
Zoning. Capcom, when they built Street Fighter 2, they built Ryu, they built Gal, they built Dalsim around the concept of being able to zone people out. This is how the game was built.
Right.
If I'm playing that character and I'm playing them that way, and you don't like it, then you probably shouldn't be playing this game. Go find something else to play.
Okay,
period.
Interesting.
Like,
interesting.
Sorry?
No, I'm just kind of like interesting. I like
yeah.
that you're in.
Yeah, or another example would be like Face Hunter, right? A lot of people consider Face Hunter to be like cancer. Like that's actually the word that they used to describe it. Now, I have no love for Face Hunters. I was a Shaman player. Face Hunter was like an awful matchup. I was a Shaman and a Handlock player. I was one of the worst matchups I've ever played. I hated playing against Face Hunters. But I would never, ever be like, oh my god, you're such a cheesy little bitch. Why don't you learn how to play or something like that? It's like, okay, you know, what can I do to get better at this matchup? What changes can I make to my deck? Should I even play this deck at all? There was a time when I just stopped playing Shaman because I just couldn't beat Hunters with it, right? So I was like, okay. Yeah. And Hunter was really popular at the time. So that's just like, that's my stance. You know, I've actually lost a lot of friends over cheese because for me, I'm just like, yo, like this is, you know, I was playing, what game was it? It was Marvel vs. Capcom, and I was playing Sentinel, and Sentinel has like really, really long normals. So I'm like, well, I have long normals. I'm going to abuse the shit out of them.
Right.
You know, if you want to come next to me, you're gonna have to catch these hands.
Yeah.
And this one mutual friend of me and Jason didn't appreciate it, so he blocked me. He blocked me on the internet, started talking shit about me. So you know, yeah. So
okay, well, like that. That's like that seems so like that. When people start doing that, I'm like, okay, really? Like it's like I've had experience before, which it makes me laugh. Like it makes me think of like back in the old. This is an old pull, but back in the day in Call of Duty 4, the whole Juggernaut Last Stand, which is basically you give your character extra health and you give your character the ability when they get downed, they pull out their pistol, right?
Wasn't that Modern Warfare 2?
No, that was Modern Warfare 1. That was in Modern Warfare 1 for sure.
Okay.
Because I remember that because I remember running my Juggernaut Last Stand build, and I got an angry message from another player who said, "You juggernaut, last stand, motherfucking piece of shit." go fucking jump off a bridge and stop playing Call of Duty. And it was like, but like I can do that in the game and I'm not the only one. And it's one of the, see, with me, I'm sorry I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's sort of like how it's, I hate it when people like they just get super aggressive over a strategy, or like get really like, oh, I gotta start talking shit, right? I feel like that's always sort of like that's not necessary at all. I can understand being frustrated with a particular strategy or a method to how people play, but not to the point of like, oh, I'm gonna block you and I'm gonna talk shit. Like that's silly to me. But yeah, continue.
No, I completely agree. Here's the thing: like we all get salty, right? Period. With human nature, we all get salty. You'll lose to something and you'll get mad. I mean, I'm not about to sit here and act like I've never gotten mad when I've lost to something or a certain character. When I lost to, what's that stupid character called in BlazBlue? Arakune? That's one of the most frustrating matchups ever. I wanted to punch my friend in the face. I didn't, but I wanted to. I'll say it straight up. You know, I was so mad after I lost. I wanted to punch him in the face. Now, I was a lot younger and I was dealing with anger issues back then, but you know, I digress. You know, like it's fine. It's fine to get a little upset, but or the best example I can think of was when one of my friends, I was teaching him how to play Street Fighter 4. And then he finally beat me, and when he beat me, I got mad, you know, because you know he'd been worse than me for so long. And when he beat me, I was salty about it, you know.
Right.
And there was 3 of us in the party together, and one of them, no, he didn't deserve that win or some shit like. Then I realized that I was being a baby, so I called him up and I apologized for it because you know I was like, you know, I was being a bit of a bitch there, you know. So it's fine to get angry, you know, but if you genuinely want to start getting mad at somebody because they use a cheese strategy and then you want to unfriend them because of that, then hey, knock yourself out. Like knock yourself out. Because speaking personally, I wouldn't want to be friends. Like I cannot stand people.
Well, it's interesting because it's like there's people that hate the idea of like what's the keep away characters in fighting games, right? Like I know that my friend, because like I play Skullgirls, right? And my friend hates it when I play I think her Peacock, right? Because her gimmick is just shooting guns and cannons and teleporting and grabbing and running away from your opponent and just hitting things with like full screen supers and shit like that, right? Yeah. So it's like, yeah, like I can understand why he gets frustrated with that particular matchup, but it's like that's her strength. That's the way that she plays, right?
That's the way she was designed.
Designed, right? And it's like it's the same thing where it's like the other cheese that I think of. I'm gonna pull another weird example: Warhammer, right? In seventh edition, which is the edition before this, the Necrons were known for being pretty cheesy, as like a very cheese faction to play as, because their whole gimmick was that they come back to life, and you essentially got extra rolls to bring them back. And it made them exceedingly powerful. And you could just have strategies which it was basically you just rush your opponent and you just like force them into a corner because you don't have to worry about losses as much as your opponent does, right? If your opponent if half the squad of your opponent's team dies, that's really bad. But for a Necron player, if half your squad gets killed, whatever. At least 2 or 3 of them are going to be coming back anyway. So, but that's how Necrons were meant to be played. So that it's like I find it's like that gray area where I can understand the frustration, right?
Of course.
Like I can completely understand the frustration with cheese, especially in competitive in games, whether it be, you know, Overwatch or Warhammer or whatever, right? Like I understand the frustration, but sometimes it's like for the person playing it, the cheese is kind of fun. Like, and it's, I guess it's, what was this one thing? Like, I personally, like, there's certain cheese where it's like, it's fun and like whatever, but then there's other things where it's like I can understand people being like, what was that one? There was one tournament in EVO, I think it was Killer Instinct, and I forget the matchup, but I think it was basically this one player was essentially timer scamming in one of the final matches, and the crowd started booing. Like, the crowd literally just started booing because it was like, this is not a fun match to watch. This is literally, you're on full defense, you've got the health advantage, and you're just waiting for the timer to go out. Luckily, he got his ass kicked in the last 10 seconds and the other player won. But that's what I mean, is that sometimes I feel like I feel like when it comes to cheese, there's certain areas where it's like it can be just kind of just unentertaining overall as a whole.
This is true.
It's but this is more from, I feel like cheese definitely in competitive. Now, if you're using cheese tactics in like a single player game, who cares? Like, absolutely who cares? Because literally, if I want to cheese the boss, sure, I can cheese the boss and save myself like a good 10, 15 minutes of just, a hard fight, right?
Yeah.
Or if I really want to, I can fight the boss the way it was intended, right? But some people play the game like different ways. Like, for example, I have a lot of friends who think I'm an asshole for summoning phantoms in Dark Souls. It's like, hey man, just beat the game by yourself. And I'm like, well, I like summoning help for these bosses. I have more fun when I'm fighting these bosses with other people rather than me just... Yeah, I'm a filthy casual. Trust me, I know. And nothing will be more real than when that Dark Souls artist just said, really? I was buying stuff from her and she was mocking me for calling phantoms. That was the best. Wow. That was really the best. But like, I feel like with cheese, like there is that bit of a gray area where like sometimes it can just be just not entertaining or even like enjoyable for the opposing side. But I mean, like, I feel like cheese should never be something that you should be getting incredibly upset about, right?
Yeah.
It's not cheating. It's not like the friggin' shenanigans that like Quackbot was doing during that Capcom tournament or something like that, where he was where he was entering himself in twice.
Yeah, for the record, the brackets at Capcom Cup got messed up because this one dude called Quackbot. So he entered the tournament once, and then one of his friends dropped out, so his friend couldn't make it into the tournament. So he took his friend's spot, so he technically entered the tournament twice. So they had to like redo the entire bracket when they found out, and he's gotten like lifetime ban from Canada Cup, and So it's not that. But one thing I do want to say in regards to it not being like the whole spectator experience, I completely understand and I completely agree. You know, when it's not fun to watch, and usually I just like change the stream.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good example. Like literally, if you're watching a match that is turned into like a timer scam, then that's not entertaining to watch. You would rather watch the constant back and forth.
Yeah, but I can't knock someone for using a strategy in the game that isn't illegal to try and win. A good example is in basketball, there's this thing called hack a Shaq. So what teams do is that they take a team, if you get fouled in basketball, you get to shoot free throws, right?
Right.
You shoot 2 free throws. But if the other team has a player on their team that is really bad at shooting free throws, teams will foul that player on purpose to put him at the line. So the other team effectively gives up their possession for free. You know, so if you have like a Shaquille O'Neal, that's where it really got popularized.
Right.
His career free throw percentage was like 50%. So teams would foul him, put him on the free throw line. Even if he only makes one of the free throws, that is 1 point less than that team could have made on that possession, right?
Right.
It's super boring to watch. It's like so boring to watch. Even the coaches that do it say that they hate it, but it's a
legitimate strategy. It's like if we're gonna lose anyway, we might as well do this and see if that gets us a couple extra points.
Exactly, it's a legitimate strategy, and that's how I feel about cheese, pretty much. I don't like there's certain okay, and also the definition of cheese is so like diverse. Some people call grapplers cheese. I've lost friends because I play grapplers. They're like, oh my god, grapplers are so cheesy. And I'm like, well, you can eat shit. How about that?
You seem very nice to your friends, Falas.
Like, I don't have time. You know, there's 7 billion people in the world. If you're trying to start getting hurt because I wanted to play Zangief, and you can go fuck yourself. You know, quite frankly. I'll fight
How did we
find
become
somebody else.
friends? Like this, like I'm trying to remember what was the first. Did you just say like did we meet and I said I don't know that much about fighting games? Did you just tell me, oh, go fuck yourself, Will? Like
No,
we can't.
you see, I'm not like that with normal people, right? For me, I'm like, if you want to start getting all like upset because of the way I want, here's the thing, right?
Mhm.
If it's a situation like, okay, for once, please don't play this one specific character when we're playing casuals, right?
Right.
I really don't like playing against this character. This character is not fun to play against.
Okay.
You know, I mean, if I can play other characters, I'll play other characters, you know?
Right.
Like that quote-unquote friend, right? Who
Right.
unfriended me because I whooped his ass with Sentinel.
Right.
When I was whooping his ass, I could tell that, you know, this was very one-sided. So I was like, does he want me to play another character? And he was
Right.
like, no, it's fine. Then after the fact, he now removed me from his friends list. So I said, good riddance to bad rubbish, man. Go jump off a bridge while you're
Well,
at
it's
it.
like, well, that's the like you literally no that's even more insane to me because it's like you literally said, hey, listen, I can play someone else, like, and we can do a different matchup, and it'll probably be more fun for both of us, right?
Yeah, I don't
and
like
it's
dominating
like
people.
that's the perfect example of like you literally gave him a reasonable compromise, and he was like, nah.
He wasn't being his feelings.
It's like, God.
So for me, like I just don't. I don't like I said, you know, I do value my friends. I don't want to sit here and act like I don't value my friends or anything. Like, I do value my friends. And real talk, if we're playing and you're like, I don't want to play against this character, I will. If I can play other characters, I will. You know, now, like, if I can play other characters, I will. Now, if it's a situation where you don't want to play against any of my characters, then I'm like, okay, then maybe you just don't want to play against me, and
Maybe this is just the wrong game, you know?
It's just the wrong game.
Yeah,
Fun.
exactly.
Honestly, if a friend came up to me and was like, "Fawaz, I don't like playing against you," I mean, I'd probably be a little hurt when they said it, but it's one of those things where, in the long run, I'd be like, "Fine," you know, I respect that, and we'd still be friends, you know.
Like I flat out told you, whenever we get around to playing a fighting game, I'm like, it's gonna be a bad day. It's gonna be a bad day for me because I'm gonna get annihilated. Like, there's no chance that I'm gonna win any matches against you. So that's what I mean. But like I feel like when it comes to cheese tactics and stuff like that, like as long as it's when you're playing against other people and it's like, oh, that's kind of cheesy, whatever, I'll play the way I want to play, and hell, I might even beat you even with your cheese tactic, right? Like, that's kind of the best way to approach it. But just kind of rage quitting over a specific tactic, I think is just unnecessary. But but no, really, really good question, J Streets. Really, really
Very
good.
good question as always.
But if you got any good questions for us, like J Streets, don't forget to leave it in the comment section, and we'll make sure to answer in the next podcast. And as always, this is your host, Room of Liberty, and
Fawaz Muhammad Yusuf.
we'll see you guys next time. Take care.